Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Let's see if everything works. Because today we have to make something very complex in Autocad. You see, whoa! Whew. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, how many of you? Good morning. So, first of all, while we wait a few more classmates, as usual, do you have, good morning, do you have questions, doubts, things that you would like to ask me before starting? Something, whatever, about the project. I mean, ask me if you have doubts, if you want to review some tools, if you want to see. I mean, feel free to ask me. Okay, someone says, question, is it best to set the preference to our projects in centimeters or millimeters? Honestly, let me see. Okay, honestly, I think it would be a lot better to set your preference to millimeters. It is a way to avoid problems mainly when you print, because if you remember when I explained how to print, there were that tricky part that is about setting the scale of your print. So honestly, that part may result a little bit tricky if you draw in other units. But with this being said, in general, I suggest to students that have never used AutoCAD before, starts in millimeters and working in millimeters is a way to have less things to remember, less things to deal with when you work with AutoCAD. But the more you go in advance, so the more you become, easy, and you will really become good in AutoCAD, then yes, then maybe you can change your units in whatever units you want. But at the beginning, if you have no previous skills, I will suggest to set preferences in millimeters. And then it's not like just preferences, but to set units into AutoCAD, the only thing you can quickly do is, while you're not having any active tool in here, you just type UN, that is the keyboard shortcut for units. You press enter, and in here you set your drawing units. As you can see, I am using millimeters as well, because this is the file that I use mainly for school. Okay, and just do this, okay, and click okay. Other questions, if you have. Let me fix here my desk. Other question, other doubts, issues, things that you want to know? I tried to make stairs. Stairs. I haven't explained really how to make stairs yet, so it's not a problem. Okay, stairs. This is very, very interesting. Stairs. Okay, let's start with this today. So, stairs are very interesting objects because they are architectural elements that are not placed in one plane only. What it means? Sorry. In the meantime, sorry, and then we'll start with stairs. Can we use some other programs for presentation? OpenOffice. Oh, yes. Yes. You can make your presentations as you prefer. I can open whatever file you may create. OpenOffice, PowerPoint. I think the only file that I can't directly open is that if you use Mac and if you use I don't know, it's called Keynote or stuff like that. So if you use a Mac, it would be better to save it, your presentation, as a PDF. Otherwise, Google presentation, OpenOffice, LibreOffice, Microsoft Office, whatever else, it's fine. So, let's see stairs today. Why not? And let's see this. Okay, so today we will see how to make stairs. And making stairs is pretty complex because, look, if I make a quick sketch where I draw a staircase, basically what I will discover is that staircases are objects that sorry. Staircases are objects that are going into 3 dimensions, and we need to understand that which is the way that we have to draw them according to the fact that they have important x, y, and z dimensions. Because they are not only interesting in floor plan, but stairs are also important in order to understand their behavior in elevation. So I will use stair also to start a new topic that I will cover today and probably even next week. That would be how to draw elements that are not only seen in floor plans or from the top, but also in elevation or section. And stairs is a nice hook to start this particular topic. So how stairs work is this. If we understand that this is the look of stairs, we need to start understanding how they are seen from the top or from sides. And let's see this. If I have a staircase, so I will just make a small one here just to remember. If I have this staircase and I look at my staircase from the top, in reality what I will see of my staircase would be I will see only these edges of my staircase, and I will also see, I will just change the color, and I will see these edges of my staircase. Everything will be instead hidden underneath. So when I draw a staircase and I call it from the top view, what I see in reality is I see the edge, front edge of each riser, and I see also side edge of each riser. And I have my 3 steps here. But there is a problem, that is, in reality, these three planes here are not at the same height, because this plane is lower, it is this one. This plane, that is my second step, goes up, and it is this one. This step is going even higher, is my third step, is going here. So I need to avoid confusion, I need to find a way to tell the viewer of my drawing which of these steps is my lower one and which is the direction that I follow in order to go up. For this reason, we need to start understanding that if I have a staircase, I not only draw all my steps, but I need to add one symbol to the stair, that is starting from the center of my first riser. I need to draw an arrow that will finish in the middle of my last step. In this way, whoever sees this thing in floor plan will understand that this will be step number 1, this step number 2, this step number 3. So, another interesting thing is that in drawing staircases, sometimes it's not that uncommon to see numbers written inside each step. Okay? So this is first thing we need to understand, that is, each staircase is drawn in this way, no matter which shape it has. So, if we have a more complex shape, like if we have a staircase that at a certain point has a landing and then it goes up like this, the way to draw the staircase in floor plan is always the same. You draw all of your steps, all of your landings, then you start from the center of your first step and you draw an arrow that follows the path of your staircase, and it always goes along the middle of your staircase, and it starts at step number 1, and then landing is a step as well. Oops, wrong. This is number 6, 7. Numbers are optional. I'm writing them because it's better to understand, but numbers are 100% optional, but not wrong. Okay? Now we need to go a bit more in depth into drawing stairs, because if this is the beginning, we need also to understand something that is. Right now we are studying only what is written before, only like the y and the x informations about the stair. We need to find a way to also manage the height of the stair in our drawing. And this is highly important because stairs will remove a lot of space from your buildings, so you need to exactly understand which is their behavior. Exactly. This is what I was about to say. It's not 1 meter. It is a little bit more. Should be 1.2, 1.5 meters. In general, is after step number 9. And look, what we need to understand is this. When we make all our steps, the more steps we do, the higher we go. And at a certain point, it happens that our steps are going very high. And in general, after the height of 1.2 or 1.5 meters, in general, we don't draw elements that are taller than these in our floor plan. And I've made this example when I showed you how to change line type into the layer. And the same concept must be applied to staircase. So what happens is this. Let's stay on the floor plan now and let's make this simulation. If I imagine that each step is more or less 15 centimeters tall, what happens is that each time that I go up, I will go 15 centimeters above. So in here I am at 0, so at ground level. When I am up here, I will be plus 15 centimeters up. But when I go here, I will be 30 centimeters above. When I go here, I will be 45, 60, 75, 90, 105. 120. So after these I am reaching this height limit. That is where my objects should be drawn with not dotted lines, as your classmate written, but with dashed lines. So what happens is that after this step, that in general is, as I said, step number 9. Step number 9 should be drawn in this particular way. So you have to make this complex symbol. That is, you have to make two larger dash dotted lines, and then this remaining part of the staircase should be correctly made by using dashed lines. Okay? And no matter how many other steps you have, but all steps that are going above this height must be drawn with dashed line. Okay? And to finish and to be 100% precise, at the end, if you have these higher staircases, you need to know that the arrow that is pointing up must be drawn till this element here. There are these two dash dotted lines that are dividing continuous shapes from dashed shapes. So at the end, your staircase should look like this. Look. Like this. Then dashed. Then, look, it is very fun because I'm using a ruler on my tablet. It's very old school, but at least they are straight lines. And then I make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then here I will draw 2 dash dotted lines, and starting from here, all my other steps that I have in my staircase must be drawn with dashed lines, but I still need to make my arrow to indicate that I'm going up, but I will be very precise and I will stop it here. This is exactly how a staircase must be drawn when I draw the same floor, the same level where the staircase is placed. Okay? Till here? Let me know if this is clear, first of all. Because before going to AutoCAD, believe it or not, is the easiest part of drawing a staircase. It is the theory behind staircase that is complex. So I will spend more time in drawing you these sketches, because in AutoCAD you will see that it takes 3 minutes to do it. But till here, is it clear why the staircase looks like this? Perfect. Okay, let's wait a few more yeses. They are not arriving. Dashed lines is extremely important, and I will show you now. Look. First of all, let's make a step back and remember what dashed lines are about. That is very simple. Look. Let's say in my project I have this. Okay. I have to draw a table, but on top of the table there is a lamp. Okay? So, just remember this. The table has more or less a height of 76, 78 centimeters. So it is below 1.2 meters. But the lamp is above, because it's above the table and is projecting light on top of it. So when I will draw the top view of this situation here, what I will draw by looking down is I will only see the table. That will look like this also, because legs of the table are hidden underneath the top of the table. But if I want to tell my client, look, underneath this table, above the table, there is a lamp, but the lamp is higher than 1.2, 1.5 meters. I have to draw it, but I will draw the lamp that is above that certain height with a dashed line to tell that this object is higher and not visible when I look down, but it is above my point of view. Okay? Same thing if you are in a kitchen and you have a cupboard, and then let's say you have the sink, no? Where you can wash dishes like that, and let's put a handle here. So if this is your furniture, you have the fact that till here it is like 1.2 meters. So the cupboard is above your height. So when you will draw the top view of this furniture, you will see this with continuous lines. From this height, you look down and you will see your lower furniture with the tap and everything, and the handle that is here. But because you want also to tell your client that there is a cupboard above this sink, you will also draw the cupboard that is above, but you will draw it with dashed lines. Okay? Is it clear now what dashed lines are about before I go back to stairs? Let me know. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. For the transition, learned earlier to make sorry, I'm not getting this. For the transition lines, I learned earlier to make a diagonal line between two. Sorry. I understand. I understand. You mean this. In here you have your continuous step, then you have your dashed steps. You say you want to make this. Is it true? And then it will look like this. Is this the question? Yes, so one by one. So for Maxime, technically, I mean, from a nerdy, super nerdy point of view, this is not 100% correct, but accepted. And you need to know the reason why. Simply because in geometry, dash dot line, in geometry, this is the trace left from a plane. So, in geometry, every single object you draw with a continuous line, you should, it means that it is an existing object. So, I mean, it is accepted, but not 110, let's say, percent correct. From a nerdy point of view, when you go from continuous to dashed, in reality, what is happening is this. In reality, when you go from dashed to continuous, what happens is that there is this invisible plane that is passing through the stairs, so you cut staircases in two places with this cut, so the intersection between the horizontal plane that switches between continuous and dashed line, these two elements here, they are drawn with dash dotted lines. But with this being said, this is just a super nerdy way to see technical drawings. One single angled line, it is accepted. I mean, and then you make this. It is just a lazier way to do it, but not totally wrong. Just a little bit wrong. Okay? So let's see other question. That is, Zarina says, does this mean even in 3D view we would also draw objects which are higher in dashed lines already? No. Perfect. Okay. Yes. I mean, it's fine. Does this mean even in 3D view we have to draw objects which are higher in dashed lines already? Absolutely not. Dashed lines must be drawn for this reason. How can I show you? Okay. Let's say this is your house. And very nice. This is your house. And when you make a floor plan, so what you do is this. You basically cut your house with a horizontal plane. So what happens to your house is that you cut it and you look down. So what remains visible of your house will be this part here, the one that is blue, like this. Okay. And this is where you put hatch. That is the part that you have the trace left from your plane in or horizontal plane. And this is why floor plan looks like floor plans. So you cut your house, you look, watch underneath like this, and you don't see what happens above. So if this is my house and I make a floor plan, the floor plan will look like this. Let me for a second hide your chat because I need this black part. The floor plan will look like this. There is the wall, there is the door, there is the window. Perfect. And there will be hatch in here. And till here, nothing new. But in my floor plan, if there is an object that I want to display that is placed above this plane, and in a house like this, the only interesting thing that I can find is if I want to tell that the ceiling inside this room is not flat, but it is angled because I have this roof, what I will do is this line here that is placed above my cutting plane for the floor, I will project it on the floor, so I will draw it in my floor plan, but because it is placed on the opposite side of my viewing plane, I will simply draw it dashed like that. Okay? So it is in floor plan that you have to do this. And you can find, for example, this information. I don't know if you have ever noticed, if you look at very old churches, like in Florence there are a lot of Gothic churches that have domes instead of flat ceiling. You can see that floor plans of churches have always things like this. And when you walk into the church, on the ground you don't see anything of these lines, while if you look up you will see that into the church there are all these arches, and there is the dome in here, and these lines are the projection of all these edges on the ground. Okay, so you have to draw these lines in floor plan. Oh, thank you so much, Danny. Okay, so dashed lines must be drawn in floor plan only, not in any other view at all. And let's go back to our staircase, because now the thing becomes a lot more interesting. I need this. So even if we will make not that much in Autocad, because believe it or not, in Autocad then it will take 3 seconds. But this is important to understand why certain things must be drawn in a certain way. So let's go back to our staircase. And let's see, we have this staircase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then okay, we have these, and then we have all our dashed steps. Okay, let's see this. And we have this simple symbol here. So now this is the top. But in order to better understand what it is happening here, what we can do is we can basically draw also our staircase from other points of view. And the point of view that I want to show you that is easier one to understand is I want to imagine myself in here. Instead of being on top of my staircase, what happens if I am here and I am looking with my eyes, I am looking the staircase from this side. So I'm standing next to the staircase, and what I will see is that instead of having myself seen from the top, I have myself standing like this. So, first thing that I have to draw is I have to draw a horizontal line that is the floor. And the floor, in this case, is not seen from the top, but is seen from the front. Okay? So, see this fantastic thing. If this step, I will just change the color. If this step is here from the top, and this we'll call it front, what I have to do is, I need to understand that I can make a line that is perpendicular to my ground line, and I can understand where these lines are touching my ground line. I can understand where the step is. But my step, if this is the ground, my step is not at the same level of the ground. My step is higher. It is 15 centimeters above the ground. So, what I will do is, these lines that are starting from corners of my step and they are reaching the ground, the floor line, instead of stopping them here, I will stop this line till they reach 15 centimeters above the floor. And I will keep doing these for all my steps. Look, my next step will be 30 centimeters above. My next step will be 45. My next step will be 60. And so on and so on. So what I will do is, I have to project these steps till they reach their height. Okay. After this height here, I go above a certain height in floor plan, but this is the front view, so doesn't matter. I will keep doing these. And I will stop each step according to its height. Okay? And if I, this is called projection, but if then I refine a little bit my drawing, and in this case I will just change the color to a more visible one. But if after this projection I only save, and let's make it thicker, but I only save this thing, I have drawn my first elevation, and I have designed the elevation of my staircase. It's not finished yet, because I should also know how the staircase goes underneath. And in general, an easier way to complete your staircase would be starting from this point here till this point here, that is the extension of that. You draw, oops, it was really bad. You draw this line. And now, believe it or not, you have designed your first unbelievable elevation of a drawing of an element that is the staircase. So this is the how the staircase looks seen from the top. And this is how the staircase looks from the front. It is from here. Okay? Till here. Does it make sense or not? Let me check. Oops. Let's split this. So till here, does it make sense from here to here? So from top to front. Let me see. Very nice. Exactly, Tanya. We cut the house for the top view, not for the front, because this is elevation. We will do something like cutting the house in front view, but that will be for section, but it's something that affects only walls. So Zarina then says, so when it is front view, no dashed line. No, absolutely not, because dashed lines are only where things are above. So above means that this is our viewing direction. So when we make the top view, we look from up and we look down. But when we look the front, there is no up and down, there is the front. So dashed lines are only into floor plans because after reaching this height, there is 1.2 about meters. In floor plan, this is below 120 centimeters. This is above 120 centimeters of height. But in front, there is no, because our point of view is like this. So there is no more above and below our point of view, because we are looking in this direction and not more in this one. Okay? First of all, this is for Zarina, to answer Zarina's question. Awesome. Then Jesus says, yes, thanks, but to make stairs in 2 sections look difficult, right? Yes, it is difficult. I mean, if not, life would be easier. It is not difficult. It just takes time, but not so difficult. It just takes time. It takes time. Okay, clear? Got it? Okay, so then George says, how do we shown glass element in our drawings? Example, if our handrail is continuous glass, handrail in glass. So maybe handrail is not in glass, because it would be handrail probably the balustrade or the railing. But I mean, it's okay. If you want to make handrail in glass, doesn't matter if it is glass or not, it has a certain dimension. So if you have something in glass, in here you can do something very interesting, that is, into the top, glass as thickness would be few millimeters. Where's the problem? You will draw your 2 millimeters thing in here, into the top, and into the front you will draw it just like that. Okay? If you want to show that it is glass, you will just keep your steps visible, so it looks in transparent. It is in transparency. If you just want to add more realism inside this element that is glass, you can add a hatch that is called a roof, that will give this kind of scattered angled hatch that in general is meant for glass, even if it's called AR roof. Okay? And this is in general for everything that is glass. So if you have something that is glass, into the front looks like this, into the top it is just drawn with its dimension. But if you have something in glass and something, let's say, that is the wall, and you want to show the difference, in here into the wall you won't put anything, into the elevation of your glass you put that particular hatch. You maybe need to adjust the scale, but this will look like this. Nothing more complex than this. So let's go back to our staircase, and there are a few more things that you need to know about staircases. There are dimensions. Dimensions of staircases must follow the nature of the person they are going to use. So there is a little bit of ergonomic involved in dimensioning a staircase. So for example, in general, let's change the color. I don't like this anymore. Okay. Oh, this is a bit brighter. So for example, in order to keep staircases well made, there must be a certain ratio between the depth of the step and the height of each step. It is pretty uncommon, for example, to have staircases that are like these, very steep and with a very narrow kind of step. In general, these are very dangerous. They are, you can find them into boats where the space is very limited, but they are dangerous because when you go up, it's not a big problem, because your foot let's say with a Nike sneaker, your foot will be like this. So you are, you can climb this staircase very easily. Okay, it's not a big problem. Very steep staircases are dangerous when you go down, because your feet will be like this. So front part, that is the one that give you more balance, will be totally unprotected. And when you go to your next step, your feet will be like this. This instead is an Adidas sneakers. Okay? So in general, there is a certain rhythm for staircases. Also, not only these are dangerous, but when you go up and down, it is very tiring, and muscles will make a lot of stress if the staircase is too tall, as well as, believe it or not, it is very tiring if staircases are too long and too low, because you will have a lot of steps to do. Without bothering you with a very precise formula that is inside staircases, you need to know that more or less steps should be from 28 to 33 centimeters deep, and in terms of height of each step, steps should go from 14 to 17 centimeters. In general, not shorter, not taller than this. And even here, not deeper and not narrower than these dimensions. But there is last information. Instead, there is the width of the staircase. And this simply depends on where you're going to put your staircase, because the width is something that depends from here. If you are placing a staircase inside a private building to connect two elements, so like a ground and first floor, but inside the same apartment, the width can be even 17 centimeters. It is very narrow, but possible. When you are going instead to place staircases into public spaces, you need to know that the minimum width should be 90 centimeters. If you think that one person will go up and down into the public staircase, and then it will grow 30 centimeters more. So then there are 120, 150 centimeters wide staircase. In general, it is hard to find staircases that are larger than these, simply because if you make a staircase that is, let's say, 180 centimeters large, it happens that it will be so wide that it would be possible for 3 persons using this staircase. And why this becomes a little bit dangerous? Simply because if I have 3 people using the staircase at the same time, it happens that the one on the right can use the arm onto the handrail. The one on the left can use the arm on the handrail. The one in the center has no protections. So in general, for staircases that are larger than 150 centimeters, it's not that uncommon to find additional handrails. That in general are those that are used by skaters to make tricks, to slide down, to grind those handrails. Okay? Are dimensions clear? Because there is one last thing that I need to know about dimensions. There is, no matter which width you select for your staircase, but there is one fixed thing that says, one fixed rule that says that the width of your staircase must be continuous all over the path of your staircase. What it means? It simply means that if this is your room, and then in order to save space and to make a more interesting layout for your staircase, you choose to make a stair like this. Spoiler alert, this is wrong. Because I start with a certain width, then because it doesn't fit the furniture that I want to use, then I choose that when I change direction, I will make this narrower. Okay? If you do stuff like this, you are fired from your job. So this is unbelievably wrong. While the width that you select must be continuous. So this will be right way to do that staircase. Okay? And then let's say then you continue like this. Okay? But if you start with a certain width all along the path of your staircase, the width must remain the same. Okay? This is extremely important. So you can make stairs with whatever path, but you need, no matter which is the path that you select, you need to keep the width continuous. And especially in Autocad, this is something that, let me tell you, takes a second, because this is exactly one case when you should use offset to draw your staircase. Because you make these lines here, then you select that you want your staircase 900 millimeters wide. Perfect. You select offset, you type 900, you offset this line, you offset this line, boom, and you can make the stairs. Same thing here. You make these, and you can make it even directly with a polyline. So in one click only, you set offset. Let's say you want it 750. Boom! You click 750, and you will immediately have this. Parallel and with a continuous distance in between. Okay? Till here? And this is right. So, with the theory we have almost done. I want to show you now how to do a few of these things in Autocad. I mean, because if not, it would be just theory about staircase. So I want to make something very complex, and I want to do this. I will first quickly show you last sketch, then I will make it in Autocad. There is this. I want this staircase in my project. So I will have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9. No. Here, imagine that these are all dashed, okay? So I want to make this staircase, and I want to draw it into top view, but I want also to draw it. I will draw myself just as a reference. And I want to draw this even into front view. But this time I want to use Autocad. And this would be very interesting, very intricate as well. And but I hope it will make sense. So let's go to Autocad. And let's see how to draw something like this. First of all, I will draw the top. So I will start by making my line. Let's use millimeters. So I make my first step, let's say 900 millimeters, that is 90 centimeters, and this is perfect. Then, just to use simple numbers, see this. My next step will be 30 centimeters far. My next step will be plus 30 centimeters, plus 30 centimeters. So an easy way that I can use now to make all my steps look is by using a lot of offset. So I will click offset, I type 300, and I select my step, and then I click here. My offset is still active, and it is still set to be 300 millimeters. So I will keep making all my steps by using offset of my last one till I reach the point where I need to make my landing and where the staircase will turn to the right. So now I can press escape, and I will make my first rotated step that again is 900 millimeters large. And I will keep using offset 300 to make all my additional steps. Let's say till here. Okay? So till here I haven't done anything special, let me say, rather than, oops, where is here? I just zoomed out too far. Just I have made one line, offset, 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 offset. One line, offset, 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 offset. Nothing more complex than this. But let's make something interesting. Look, I will make a polyline and I will draw this edge of my staircase. So from here to here till there. I'm using a polyline and then I press escape. I'm using a polyline because I know that the polyline will be one object only, and because I want to use offset after using the polyline, I know that my offset will immediately be one object only. So look, after making one side of my staircase, I click offset. The width of my staircase is 900, so I do offset. I type 900 and I offset this polyline on this direction. Boom! And I have almost done the majority of drawing work in my staircase. Okay? Let's see. Till here, again, nothing special. Offset, offset. Polyline, offset. Now, I need to think how tall each step will be. And only to make easier in math, I will think that each step is 15 centimeters tall. So I will count 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120. So after 120, this step here is where my lines should change from continuous to dashed. So it was this or that? I don't remember. Here. So I will draw these two angled lines. Okay? Right now is I will fix all my line types later on, but I will finish my drawing by making midpoint, midpoint, till I reach this line, and I will make this arrow. I'm not using any fancy tools to make arrow because it just looks fine. I'm not using any mirror complex. No, I mean just an arrow. But I am 80% ready with the staircase from the top view. Okay? I just need to fix two things that are in here. I need to break this line because this part will remain continuous while this part will be dashed, as well as all these steps, they must be dashed. And also these two lines must be dash dotted lines, not continuous. Okay? So, till here, as I said, nothing fancy. But now, let's go to layer properties and let's fix a few things into layers. In my layers, I am using the 0 as my continuous line type. That's fine. I should technically make a new layer and call it stairs, but it's okay. Then I will make another layer and I will call it dashed steps. And I will make another layer that I will call dash dotted lines. So, the 0 layer, or the one that is stairs, I will keep line type continuous. In the layer that is dashed, I select it and I load my dash line, this one, and I select it as a line type. In my dash dotted lines layer, I click line type. I load third line type, the one that is dash dot, and I select it. Okay. Okay? So what I've done now is simply I have created the structure of my layers, where I have continuous lines for visible steps, dashed lines for higher steps, and I have dotted lines for those two symbols. Okay? Till here? Just let me check. Just having a quick feedback. Perfect. So now let's see the magic. First simple thing that I will do is I select these two lines that I have quickly drawn into the 0 layer, and I will move them into my dash dotted lines layer. And if I zoom in, I can see that they are not more continuous. I will select these steps and I will change them from layer 0 to dashed steps, and they are dashed. Now there is the only tricky part, that is this. If you see, this polyline here and this polyline here are continuous polylines. So if I move them from 0 to dashed layer, what happens is that they will all change and they will become entirely dashed or entirely continuous. So see another interesting use of these two dash dotted lines. That is, you select them, you click trim, and you trim that small part of the staircase that is inside those two lines. In this way, you also break the continuity between this part and this part of the staircase. So I will select only this side and this side of my staircase, and I will move these elements into dashed steps layer. And this is, I have almost done in floor plan. There is just one beautiful thing that I want to show you about those elements that are into dashed and dashed dotted layers. But till here, is it fine? Can you do this? Let me see the chat. Great. So, very last thing that I want to do in floor plan is just this. It's not about your screen, but you can see that my dashed lines and my dash dotted lines are very small, and it is really hard to see that they are dashed and this is dash dotted line. It's pretty complex to see them. So, first of all, how much positive feedback. I'm so happy. So, see this. In your Autocad, do you have this tab that is called Properties or not? First of all, if you have a Mac, you have for sure. It is just on the right side of the screen. But if you have Windows, do you have Properties as a visible tab or not? Yes. So I know for sure. Nope, exactly. So, see this. What you have to do if you don't see properties is simply this. You just select an object. Okay, select an object. With your object selected, if you have Windows, right click. Okay, select the object, right click and open the panel that is called Properties. And you will see this thing floating in your screen. Okay? Because I don't like it floating, the only thing that I have done is I have dragged this to the left side of my screen and I snap these properties onto the left side of my screen. Nothing more than this. But can you do that? If you have Windows, so select an object, right click on it and select Properties. Great! So, now see this. I have only to change one parameter inside my properties that is called line type scale. So, the only thing that this number does is this. Select all objects that are into a non-continuous layer. Line type scale 1 is a number that I can click, and if I make it bigger, it will simply make my dashes bigger. Or the opposite, if they are too big, I can decrease it and it will make small. Let's say I change it to, I don't know, 5, and I press enter. And in this way, when I press escape, I will see that all lines are still in the same position, still with their own line types, but all dashes, all dash dot elements are just bigger. So look again, I will just do this. You have always to do it with all of your dashed lines. I'm just showing with the 3, but if I make it 10, I will simply make my dashed line with wider dashes. I will put it, not 55, 5. So in this way, my staircase symbol is a lot more readable, even if I zoom out. Okay? So, the parameter that we are dealing with is simply called line type scale. And unfortunately, is something that you need always to manage when you use lines that are not continuous. Okay? Does it work? Let me see. Let me have a quick look at the chat. Because I want to show you just one last thing. That is, I want to draw the front elevation of this staircase. So I just need to see if you can find line type scale. Okay, 1 yes is enough. Now I have to do in Autocad, believe it or not, that simple thing that I have done in the sketch before. So to draw the elevation, I need to do this. I will draw this line first. And this line for me is the ground. So again, you can do it. It's just a way to understand that you are changing the orientation. If I draw a person on this line, in reality, the person will look like this. And very nice. Ooh, look at that. And then this. Fantastic. So in this view, the person is seen from the front, not more from the top. So what I have to do in here is what I've done before with my sketch. That is, I have, starting from each corner of my stair, I need to draw lines that will be perpendicular to this ground line. So I have to draw this one. Technically, this staircase is very simple because all of these steps are aligned to the same line. But there is a problem. That is, this step is my first step. So when I am here, my feet are on the floor. But when my feet are over here, they go above 15 centimeters. Then in millimeters is 150. So what I will do is, I have to draw a line in here. That is where my staircase starts. But then I have to click offset, and I will offset 150, and I will offset this line up. And I will also connect the projection of the step till the height of the step. So this rectangle here, then we will trim these lines afterward, but this rectangle here is nothing else than my first step seen from the front view. And I have to repeat this process for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 steps. So I have made my first. I will keep using offset because this is my first. Then I offset 150. This is first. Then I make second, third, fourth, and fifth step. And because they are all aligned together, I will simply continue these lines till the height of my last step. And when I have finished this part of the staircase, I simply select the ground and I trim these temporary lines that were used only to help me understanding where all those steps are. Okay? Now let's continue, because now we have this. Now we have this step here. I have to project it like this. It has to be perpendicular to the ground, but it keeps going 15 centimeters above. This, the same. It goes up. This, the same. Just goes up. I'm just making super long now, but I will trim them later and you will see how simple it is. But all these lines are all perpendicular to the ground. I'll do this. I'm almost done. This and that. So in here, what happens is that once that I am into the landing, when I go to my upper step, I keep going up 15 centimeters. So I will make this line and I will move it here first, and then I will move it from here 100. I will move it from here 150 millimeters. Okay? So this instead is this step seen from the front view that is here. And I will keep doing these for all my steps. So I will copy this here and I will move it 150 millimeters. There are multiple ways to do this operation, but just to understand this, you copy and you move it up 150. And you keep doing this for all of your steps. Okay? Or you can use offset. You can select all of them and you can copy them all from here to there till here. This would be a lot faster But you just need to understand the process, not being fast. You just need to understand that each step goes on the right and it goes 15 centimeters above. Okay? I have almost done. Next thing that I will do will be I will use again trim, and I will select all my steps. I click trim and I remove upper part of all these steps and also lower part of all these steps. And why this is not working? And I will delete this. Okay? I have almost done because, oops, forgot this one. Sorry. I have almost done because a staircase can be so thin. A staircase has a line underneath. This line goes in this way. From this point, it goes by following the slope of the staircase. It goes till where the stair finishes. There are multiple ways to do it, but easier one will be this. You make it like that before, and then you move it on your lower step, and then you finish it by making this, and you extend this one. Okay? And also, just to show you, if I have a person going up, this person will go up like this. But when this guy goes there, let me quickly change it. This guy will do this. It's not becoming thinner. It is simply okay. So exactly, and let's move this guy here. So in here, if this guy has the nose is looking here, and in here nose is looking there. 1 second, let me do this illustration. Oh, perfect. It's a little bit worried, but it's okay. And here instead is going like this. And we have made our unbelievable staircase, and we were able to draw it, our staircase, into the top and our first amazing elevation. Okay? So, what you have to do as a homework will be, if you can, try to find that if in your building you have a staircase that you can measure. so that you can make the realistic one, and try to measure it, try to sketch it, take pictures of it, and let's see if you can draw it. It doesn't matter if you do this precisely in AutoCAD, but if you can send me like a picture or and then the sketch, even with pencil, of your staircase would be interesting. If not, I mean, this is just an exercise, it's not mandatory. If not, just keep working on your final project and keep me updated. So sometimes let me know if you have already selected the architect, interior designer, if you have made first concept sketches of your final project, and so on and so on. And if you have done some choices, if you have doubts about your final project, ask me by mail. Okay? Is everything clear? So that we will stop here, and then I have another lesson just after this one. Is everything fine? Perfect! So, for now, I will stop here. Send the link again for the project. What do you mean? I've explained what to do as a final project during another class. So, no thanks, I don't want to use. And Marco, AutoCAD, where is final project? Final project interior. This is the PDF version of what I've explained in the lesson, where I've explained what to do as a final. Okay, as a final, I will just paste it here. Where to send? Sorry, where to send your AutoCAD folder. There is the same where you have to place all of your homeworks. Is this one. Okay, let's see, and I will paste it here. Let's see if it works. Perfect. Yes, it does. So you follow this link and you just call your file in a clear way that I can recognize that is about your final project. Okay? For now, bye everyone, and we will see next week, Thursday. Okay? Bye.